Joining us now to talk about Zelensky's trip to Europe is political science professor Jaro Bilocerkowycz from the University of Dayton in Ohio. Professor, what do you think the purpose of Zelensky's trip to Europe is? What does he want?
Well, I think it's important for him to make those trips to Europe to solidify support, to personally thank the Europeans for their significant and generous support politically, economically, and militarily. And of course, he's always well received. And so not only is he thanking them for their past support, but he's also urging continued support since it's still a long and difficult struggle. I think he's emphasizing the fact that it isn't just a struggle between Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine is fighting for European values, democracy, rule of law, reforms, and so on. And so in some sense, they're on the front lines fighting not only for themselves, but for all of Europe, because obviously if Ukraine were to fall, then the rest of Europe would be endangered. And so it's a situation where it isn't just narrowly, two countries fighting it out.
In just a few days, it will be the one-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Where does the war stand right now? Is one side stronger than the other?
Well, I think certainly in the last 6 months or so, Ukraine has been on the offensive and have done very well in terms of freeing up, liberating formerly occupied territories. Now, Russia and Putin, I think, are desperate, given the one-year anniversary coming, to show military progress. And as a result, they're preparing to launch a major counteroffensive. They brought in hundreds of thousands of troops. So I think it's, and of course, they're doing it partly from a timing perspective because Ukraine is expecting large numbers of Western tanks and some longer range artillery systems. So Russia's trying to not only, show progress before the anniversary, but also try to make progress before Ukraine's reinforcement in terms of equipment comes and before Ukraine has had opportunity for its soldiers to be trained in some of this newer high-tech equipment. Well, I would say overall, Ukraine has far outperformed expectations. And in that sense, Russia is seen as sort of losing the war to this point. Still, Russia, of course, still has a lot of resources. They still can kind of cause a lot of damage. They, of course, have targeted civilian structure. So in some sense, their inability to defeat the Ukrainian army one-on-one has led them to attack sort of defenseless civilians in cities.
What are the ways in which this war could finally come to an end? Do you think that will be anytime soon?
I don't see it happening too soon because the stakes are high for both sides. Ukraine is fighting for its basic existence, for its freedom, its independence, its values for Europe, etc. So that, they can't quit. They can't concede, they can't capitulate. And Putin is fighting for his own sort of political survival. So, of course, he thinks, I think falsely, that the long-term benefits him, that eventually the West will get tired of supporting Ukraine, they'll turn inward with their own domestic problems. But it's important that the West sort of keep aware that this isn't just a battle about and for Ukraine, it's a battle about democracy, freedom, territorial sovereignty, so that aggressors don't see that if Ukraine, a big country like that, who's sort of courageously defending itself, if it falls, Taiwan and other democracies around the world would be threatened.
Thanks so much for joining us, Professor.
Thank you.